Welcome back to Sports Cards 101, tips and tricks for collectors. This is Joe with GotBaseballCards, and today we are talking vintage card grading. Today we received a submission from James in Brooklyn, New York. He sent us 40 cards that are going off to SGC, and we're going to take a look at these, and we're going to talk about vintage grading, things you need to look for, things to be aware of to protect yourself. Of course, through our service, we provide pre-screening of cards. We're going to look at some classics. I hope you're going to really enjoy these because I had fun just looking through the order. We're starting off with a 48 play ball Ted Williams. Now, as you can see, one thing I immediately see about this one, it is miscut. This one is miscut, and it's also got a large crease running through the card, and it's also got staining on the back of the card. So, still a classic. Classic 48 Ted Williams. We're following up with a 48 leaf Joe DiMaggio. A little bit better centering on this one. A little bit better centering, no staining on the back. This, of course, is card 1 in the set. Also a classic. This one's probably going to grade a 1 or 1.5 because of the creasing on it. Following that one up, we've got a 54 Bowman Mickey Mantle. 54 Bowman Mickey Mantle. And this one, I can already tell, has been trimmed. The bottom of the card has noticeably been cut off. You can literally see the inconsistencies in the bottom border. But that's a 54 Bowman Mickey Mantle. And so with this one, it's also got a nice crease in the back as well. But when this one goes off, the best grade, of course, this could receive would just be an authentic grade. One of my all-time favorites, card number 1 in the 53 top set, 1953 Jackie Robinson. One of the most beautiful, iconic cards in the hobby, in my opinion, following up his 52 tops card. This one has multiple creases and paper loss. Centering's pretty good, but this one definitely will not be better than authentic or a 1 grade with these issues. We've got another classic 53 tops Mickey Mantle, card number 82. This one also multiple creases, multiple surface issues, but it's still a 53 Mantle, still a classic. This next one's a little nicer shape. We've got a 48 Bowman Stan Musial rookie. 48 Bowman Stan Musial rookie. Now this one does have light staining. And when you're talking about staining, that's one thing to be aware of on vintage cards. Of course, you can look at centering, and we're going to be doing another episode on centering and how to measure centering effectively. And of course, you can look at corners, you can look at edges. One thing with vintage cards, there's often staining. If there's ever been any moisture around the cards, they can soak in. There can be a variance in the surface. There can be moisture that's soaked into the card in some part. This actually just looks like something got on the surface of the card. Again, in our video on grading tools, we talked about using the proper magnification, using the proper lighting. This one, I can tell just with the naked eye, there's staining there, but it's still a 48 Bowman Musial, card number 36, slightly off center. That one's certainly a great candidate for grading. Following it up, we've got another 53 tops. Looks like these may have came from the same batch because the condition's not great, but it's a beautiful Satchel Paige 1953 top. Large vertical crease running right down the middle of the card. Of course, creasing is the biggest issue with vintage cards. This one actually has pretty good centering. Corners are pretty weak. Does have this very noticeable crease, but again, it's a 53 Satchel Paige, so I'd still recommend that one for grading. Following up, we've got a 41 play ball Ted Williams. This one, front looks great, right? Eye appeal looks great. Flip it over. It's actually missing the back of the card. So that one's pretty obvious. There's an issue there. There's no back to the card. This one, the submitter is obviously just hoping that they will grade it as authentic as the front. But every card I've looked at, they're all low grade. Here's why we still would recommend every one of these. Check these out, and you're going to say, oh, look at these beauties. 55 Koufax, right? What a beauty. Check out the corners on that one. Beautiful 68 Nolan Ryan. Check out the corners, well centered. This one's a little rougher. 52 Topps Mantle. 52 Topps Mantle. Number 311. How about a 33 Gowdy Ruth? 33 Gowdy Ruth. Check out the corners on that beauty. You know why we grade low grade vintage, especially big stars like this? Because all four of these I just showed you, every single one of these is a counterfeit. Here at our shop in Loganville, Georgia, we get countless counterfeits that people submit for grading. We have saved submitters maybe hundreds of thousands, but definitely tens of thousands of dollars on cards like this that are sent in, and we have to tell them, we're sorry, that's a counterfeit. We have countless different ones. We'll be doing a separate episode just on how to detect counterfeits, both in the vintage market and the modern card market. But when I receive cards like these, submissions like these, classics, 53 Topps Superstars, Hall of Famers, 48 Leaf Superstars, Hall of Famers, etc. Even in low grade, they're absolutely worth submitting, because the first key to vintage card grading is authenticity. Condition is secondary. The first key is getting those cards authenticated. Because when you go to buy a 53 Satchel Paige or a 53 Mantle, you want to know it's real. And one tip of advice, never buy high grade or even mid grade star cards from the 50s without having them authenticated. We recommend PSA, SGC, BGS, and CSG. They're all great at catching counterfeits, detecting alterations, things like that. If you're spending 4 figures on a vintage card, don't buy it raw. I have friends who've done it, they've gotten burned. Be very careful. Buy graded when you're buying high dollar vintage. So we're going to have many more episodes coming up, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out. Thank you to James from Brooklyn. This was one of the dozens of submissions we were working on today that came in the store. Again, this is a classic vintage submission that's going to be headed off to SGC. And whether you want to submit with PSA, SGC, BGS, or CSG, we are your #1 source for sports card grading. We've been doing it longer than anyone that I'm aware of, dating back to 1998. We've been working with customers on their submissions. We handle them for thousands of customers around the globe. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you'll catch our next episode of Sports Cards 101, Tips and Tricks for Collectors. Thanks so much.